What if your loud, goofy energy, the thing everyone says defines you, is actually the only thing that makes you you? In Not Normal Season 6 Episode 4, SpongeBob hears a blunt truth from Squidward. There are two kinds of people. There are people that are normal, and then there's you.
There are two kinds of people. There are people that are normal, and then there's you.
Well, that's the beginning of a brutal takedown of conformity disguised as an 11-minute kid show. This is the episode where SpongeBob literally loses himself, and we're about to break down exactly how it happened. So the episode starts with Squidward smacking his head, all thanks to the aggressively, unapologetically being of SpongeBob SquarePants running around, laughing, and making noise. An annoying neighbor ruining Grumpy Guy's morning. But then Squidward says something that breaks SpongeBob in a way we've never really seen before. He tells him he's not normal. And we can see it in SpongeBob's face that this isn't just another insult he can laugh off. This one lands. It is at this moment that our guy is painfully aware that people find him annoying. So the first thing he asks, how do you become normal? He begs Squidward for advice, and Squidward just kicks him out. Let's pause here because this moment is darker than the show wants you to realize. In literally every other episode, SpongeBob brushes off Squidward's insults like water off a duck's back. The dude has been rejected, yelled at, and physically removed from Squidward's property more times than Ross said we were on a break. But this time it sticks. And it is in part because SpongeBob genuinely loves Squidward. Not in a superficial way, he deeply cares about this miserable octopus who has never once returned that affection. And in this episode, we're watching someone who's used to rejection finally ask why he's being rejected. The answer he gets is essentially because you exist wrong. So SpongeBob does what millions of people do when they're told they're too much. He finds a tutorial. He literally gets a VHS tape called How to Be Normal. It's the most depressing thing the show has ever produced. The video introduces us to Mr. Normal, a fish whose defining characteristic is that he looks boring. His hair is boring. His face is boring. His entire existence is described as monotonous. The video shows office workers communicating exclusively by saying, "Hi, how are you?" and then going home to repeat the cycle tomorrow. It's a satire of adult life that's so on the nose, it hurts. And SpongeBob watches this soulless existence and thinks, yes, this is what I need to become. But it is basically showing SpongeBob what adult life looks like in the real world, which is wild considering this is a show about a talking sponge who lives in a fruit. Anyway, next day at job, there's an annoying silence from the kitchen, and here's SpongeBob who had converted this space into a cubicle. His voice drops into this flat, corporate monotone that sounds like every customer service representative who's dead inside. And he even prints out a name tag that says, "Hello, I'm normal," because, well, he's now normal. When Squidward comes in expecting chaos, SpongeBob just says,
"Hi, how are you?"
and goes back to typing into this machine that spits out perfectly made Krabby Patties. Which, by the way, Mr. Krabs loves because, you know, less time wasted, more patties made, more money earned. It's great for business. But Squidward is stunned. Even SpongeBob's house transforms from a quirky pineapple into a regular suburban box. Squidward can't believe it, but at the same time, he's happy? No, more than happy. He's relieved because his dream finally came true. What follows is this overly cheerful montage of Squidward genuinely enjoying the new SpongeBob, who, little by little, starts changing completely, far beyond just the short small talk of, "Hi, how are ya?" Like, stop there. What is this? Go back because at first he's still square, literally. His body is still the same shape even though his behavior has changed. So what I'm assuming from this is that they are showing us that at this point, our guy is performing normality. I mean, he's acting, but his core self is still intact. Then we get the 3-week time jump.
3 weeks later.
And suddenly, SpongeBob is round. His edges are smoothed out, his buck teeth are gone, even his voice sounds different. This isn't an act anymore. He's actually become normal. And it makes sense from a more global perspective, because if we're reading roundness as a symbol of conformity and balance, then SpongeBob's entire family suddenly makes perfect sense. His parents are round, and I always wondered why. Well, it turns out they're all these pleasant, well-adjusted sponges who can function in society without causing absolute mayhem. They've got personality, sure, but they know how to dial it back. They exist in that sweet spot between fun and functional. Then you've got SpongeBob and his cousin Stanley, both aggressively square and both absolute agents of chaos. So maybe the square shape isn't just about being different. It's about being unable or unwilling to smooth yourself out for the comfort of others. In fact, he even says it himself.
Smooth out the edges of my personality, and the rest just followed suit.
And honestly, I personally find that line so casually devastating because it's describing self-erasure like it's a life hack, like he optimized himself into a better product. And in doing so, he's lost himself completely. But then the facade cracks, because it always does when you build your identity on pleasing others. Turns out, paper Krabby Patties don't taste good, and customers start leaving. Mr. Krabs loses money, and suddenly the personality he praised 5 minutes ago is a problem. Mr. Krabs didn't actually want SpongeBob to be himself. He wanted the result of SpongeBob's passion, the quality work, the dedication, without dealing with SpongeBob's personality. He wanted the labor without the person. And when Roundbob can't deliver both, he's immediately discarded. So yeah, SpongeBob loses his job. Then he loses Patrick, who can't connect with this hollow version of his best friend. Patrick tries to get him to go jellyfishing, to do something fun, to be spontaneous, and SpongeBob keeps suggesting window shopping and defragmenting hard drives. It's genuinely sad watching Patrick realize he doesn't recognize his friend anymore. And because he's not interested in befriending a stranger, even if that stranger is technically SpongeBob, he just walks away. So SpongeBob goes to the one person who supposedly wanted this, Squidward. And for the first time ever, Squidward invites him in. Applause, please. They have tea. They have a civil conversation. He seems like genuinely enjoying SpongeBob's company. This is everything SpongeBob thought he wanted. Squidward's acceptance, his friendship, his approval. But something feels wrong, because SpongeBob isn't being accepted. Roundbob is being accepted. The real SpongeBob is still unwanted. He just managed to bury that version so deep that nobody has to deal with it anymore, including himself. And just in that moment, this dude makes the same mistake Squidward made. He starts picking apart Squidward's appearance, telling him his nose is too big, his face needs work, he doesn't wear pants. He's projecting his own insecurity onto someone else, trying to create another normal person because misery loves company. Squidward kicks him out, and suddenly SpongeBob is completely alone. No job, no best friend, not even Squidward wants him anymore. He traded everything that made him special for a version of acceptance that was always conditional. And now he's alone, jobless, and stuck in a persona that's suffocating him. So what options left now? Sure, maybe go back to the way he was before, because at least then he was having fun, and yeah, he actually had a friend who cared about him. But when he tries to mentally will himself back to square, clenching and focusing and straining, nothing happens. The thing is, you can't just undo the mental rewiring you did to yourself. You can't unlearn the belief that who you are is fundamentally wrong. This moment is quietly heartbreaking because it shows that recovering from people-pleasing isn't as simple as deciding to stop. The damage goes deeper than behavior. It changes how you see yourself. But since this is a cartoon, what you can do is pop your eyes out under pressure and then just stick them back in like nothing happened. Anyway, the round depressed guy goes looking for Patrick, who has become his weird life coach, putting SpongeBob through increasingly bizarre exposure therapy. They slide through town in their underwear. They get launched into the zoo. They lick sand. They eat condiments with their feet. And with each bizarre activity, a part of SpongeBob comes back. A crater here, his nose there, his buck teeth return. The episode is literally showing us that reclaiming yourself after conformity requires intentional, sometimes uncomfortable work. You have to do the things that made people uncomfortable in the first place. You have to embrace the weirdness you spent so much energy suppressing. But then the writers of this thing do something brilliant. Just as SpongeBob is about to fully transform back, he stops. He stays round, and both he and Patrick think it's permanent. They break down crying because they genuinely believe SpongeBob is stuck as this hollow version of himself forever. Just when all seemed lost, Squidward showed up looking normal. I meant this normal. Same monotone voice, same corporate greeting, same dead-eyed stare, same "hi, how are ya?" and SpongeBob screams so loud he transforms back into his original self. Honestly, he looks really bad. Or maybe I've just gotten used to handsome Squidward. But seriously, what a creepy look. And that's saying a lot coming from Squidward. But that's not the core reason he screams. It's because he's seeing his own self-destruction reflected back at him. Squidward became normal because SpongeBob made him insecure. The same way Squidward made SpongeBob insecure at the start. It's a trauma cycle. Hurt people, but make it a Nickelodeon cartoon. The episode ends with SpongeBob hugging Squidward, demonstrating what he finally learned. He loves him, regardless of whether Squidward is normal or weird or whatever. He always did. The acceptance he was chasing was never about becoming someone else. It was about finding people who didn't require a performance. And the only way he could offer that kind of unconditional acceptance to others was by first accepting himself. And that's why Not Normal Season 6 Episode 4 is one of the smartest kids show episodes ever. In just 11 minutes, it nails authenticity, people-pleasing, and the exhaustion of performing for approval. No preachy moral needed. If you made it all the way through SpongeBob's epic identity meltdown, smash that subscribe button and click on the next video. Because where else can you get free therapy, cartoon crisis management, and existential laughs all in one place?